GTT.
Not sure if your audio sounds professional? A sound check by George the Tech removes all doubts and explains the next steps. Audiobooks, podcasts, or voiceovers. For content creators, we do it all. New customers get 20% off with coupon code XPTO.
George the Tech.
I try to cover as many genres as humanly possible, performance business and tech, with the people that are knowledgeable working, booking in that area. And then just give everyone chances to practice and learn and pick up techniques and things. That's kind of what we're doing within the membership.
George the Tech.
Hey everybody, it's George the Tech, and we are back for some more time with our friend and great talent and business owner herself, Christi Bowen, to fill us in on what's been going on with the Tennessee Voiceover Studios. What's happening, an update, because, it's been a year almost, and, well, I hear there's been some changes. So let's first start off by saying hi. How are you doing today, Christi?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really well, thanks. It's nice to have you back again.
I'm glad to be back. Thank you.
Absolutely. So there's been some changes that have been made around how you operate your business and how you guys serve your clients, and give us a little background. Well, just first give us a little idea of where things are now, and then we'll walk backwards a little bit and talk about the journey to get to where you are now. So tell us about your services as they stand today.
Well, made some big changes at the end of 2025. And I decided to shut down the brick and mortar location in downtown Nashville of Tennessee Voiceover Studios, because we were doing two things there. We were holding in-person and or hybrid classes where they were virtual plus, in person. And then I also rented the studio out. I had the Whisper Room booth, and I would have people come in who needed sessions. They were either from out of town or whoever. I had famous musicians in there who had to record voiceover stuff.
Yep.
There's actually a spot out right now for the Olympics. And there was a Paralympian who came in. He happens to live here. He's a hockey player. And they wanted him to record, this thing. So whenever there's this wonderful video out right now about the Olympics, and it's not his voice. They were having a whole bunch of Olympians record it. They did not end up choosing him, but I heard it. I was in the other room, and I came in and I went, wait, I know this script. I know this.
Yeah.
Because he had recorded it in my booth. So we rented out the studio. But, and I was always wanting to really build that business and make that a big thing. And two things happened. The rental business pretty much evaporated. People just weren't renting, or I'd had lots of, people inquiring, but nobody renting. And even though my prices were way lower than everybody else in town, especially for what they were getting, but also it just, the rent went way up because Nashville is just changing so much.
Right.
Rents were going skyrocketing, and just, the drive, which, hate to complain for anybody who's listening from LA and other big cities, is going to be like, yeah,
any
really?
growing
really,
city
really?
suffers from their own form of bad traffic. Trust me.
Yeah, we were having a lot of issues, and I was having a lot of issues with that, and it was, the time factor and my stress levels were so bad that I couldn't run both my personal voiceover business as well as the studios effectively, because I was constantly not in the studio. I was on the road.
And your personal life.
And my personal life. Yeah, I'm raising a 4-year-old grandkid. I'm tired.
Yeah.
So, it was a lot. And all those things kind of happened together. And I started thinking, well, one of the things I wanted to do too, and it all kind of happened at the same time, was I wanted to launch a membership-based training curriculum.
Yes, we did chat about that a bit. It sounded really excellent in the way that you had formulated it. Well, I want you to tell me more about that in a little bit. But
so there's two things. There's Career Path, which we talked about before, and there's also something called the Voiceover Exchange. I took my meetup group, the in-person meetup group, and morphed that into something called it's still membership, but it's for everybody now. It's not, you have to be in Nashville. And it I wanted to turn that training program into virtual.
Yeah.
So if I
Smart.
was going to do that, I was like, well, why am I paying so much
Right.
for this huge space that is
Right.
now just, gone skyrocketed in rent?
Right.
And, all those concerns between time and money and stress and everything else, I was kind of losing it.
Yeah.
I don't mind pulling the
understand.
curtain back on the, and how the sausage is made here. I was losing it. And it just wasn't, that business model wasn't sustainable anymore.
Right.
So I thought, okay, it's time to pivot. And I
It's
pivoted.
so frustrating. Good for you. I mean, it's either that or what's the alternative? Is to just wilt or hang up everything and quit.
Exactly.
Quit, never say die. Right. It's you adapt, evolve. Right. And you did that.
Exactly.
It's so frustrating when you have a vision, or even more so when you have a demand, and so you want to serve a demand. So then you build something to serve a demand. And then as soon as that thing is built and you've got it running and it's promoted and all that blood, sweat, and tears and expense and everything, and then the demand seems to evaporate. And at the same time, expenses go up.
Yes.
That's like a worst case perfect storm. And
it was.
it's so frustrating. I mean, I feel it in different ways. I've been fortunate that I never made the investment in brick and mortar. So I feel very lucky I never overinvested, although there was at least one stage in my life I was intending to do that.
Right.
But to know that you invest and react to a market and then you try to create solutions to fill that need, and the need seems to go away. I know that feeling. That's just frustrating.
It's very frustrating. And I didn't want to give up completely because, I kept having all the people were like, well, we love what you've built. We want, we want in-person classes. We want to see people. We really, and I get that. And, I do have plans for the people that are local that I have built the relationships with to do more social events, once a quarter or something. Just, let's all get together and go hang out at X restaurant, or maybe go to this thing or go to this event or whatever, to get that in-person feeling and create those bonds. But it's just, and also there are only so many people here that I can train locally.
Right.
I couldn't keep up with the,
it's
yes,
a
there are a
limited
lot of
pool
people.
of potential clients.
Exactly.
Right.
And I have to sustain a business, and that's very hard. And I also don't want to nickel and dime people to death. And I didn't want to pressure anybody into, well, you got to keep taking classes. And, because they come to me later and go, hey, I'm starting to study with so-and-so, or I'm about to get my demo with so-and-so. I'm like, good. I'm glad you found other coaches.
I know.
I'm not one of those people that's like, hey, if you come to us, you can't go anywhere else. You're never going to come, because that's completely against my ethics.
It's not the way you think. It's against your ethics. I feel the same exact way, Yeah, absolutely.
So, I just decided that I needed to pivot. And I did end up renting a very small, kind of one-person office in the town I live in, which is south of Nashville, by a good distance. And so I found a one-person little office. And at first it was just, the desk and chair that came with the place. And, I had it all set up in there, and I was doing all my virtual classes. I built a nice, pretty background and everything. And, so they would look good because all my classes for the membership are recorded. So people can go back and, watch them later, anybody who can't attend. And so I was like, I want it to look good. I want them to be professional looking, blah, blah, blah. And I decided that, this little office is going to be great because it was a third of the price of what I was paying in downtown. And it takes me 12 minutes to get there from my house.
Lovely.
So I was like, okay, my stress level has completely dropped. Well, then my booth wasn't selling, and it was still in my old location in downtown because I've known the owners of that place for 30 years. They're good friends. And they let me keep the booth in there, but it wasn't selling. And I thought, maybe I will keep it after all. So I managed a way I fitted in to that one-person office. I rearranged everything. The booth fits in that office. And even though it's only the booth and my desk fit in there, and that's it. It's not like I can hold classes there in person. But I can if I have to rent it out to people. If somebody happens to be, because a lot more people are, kind of visiting the area I live in, which is Franklin, which is south of town, or they're willing to drive out here. They're like, okay, if I need to rent it out, I could. I've still got all the same gear. everything else.
I don't know the area that well, but it's sort of a nice suburban neighborhood outside of the downtown Nashville.
Yeah, it is. It's its own little town. It's a very historic, quaint town built in 1799. Got the beautiful, 1800s, Main Street with the town square and all that kind of stuff. It's very Hallmark, as they say.
Yeah, especially with the winter you guys have had. With all the snow, it probably looks right off of a postcard.
Yeah, it does. And, there are a lot of people who will come down to Franklin when they're visiting the area. So, and also a lot of people, this county is the one that's more people are moving to than anywhere else in the entire state. So there are a lot of people who are down here. Also, a lot of voice actors live down here. Tons of voice actors live down here. So, if they happen to have a problem with their booth or they need something, I don't advertise that I rent it out, but I will. If somebody contacts me or even one of my students is like, hey, I need to record something and my place isn't up to snuff, come on over.
I know several that have located to that area. Do you know Pat Duke?
Yep, I know Pat. Kay Bess is here.
Kay
Kayla
Bess?
Jackson's here.
Oh my gosh,
yeah. Jason Marsden.
So many people we know.
Goodness gracious. James Arnold Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people here.
I get it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's so many good things that have come out of this.
Yeah, there really have been.
Unfortunate situation in the end, when a door closes, a window opens,
Yeah, and that's how I like to look at it.
So what are the programs now that are, tell us a little bit more about the programs you're operating now and how people can get involved and what they might learn along the way.
Yeah, so I've got 2 programs, and I will be honest with you, I have not done my big marketing push or launch or anything else, so if you're hearing it here, yay! But one of the things is the big main one is called the Voiceover Exchange. Mm-hmm. And the Voiceover Exchange kind of spun out of the meetup group I had run, which was called Tennessee Voiceover Exchange.
Right.
And so I've flipped it to be the Voiceover Exchange because, it's not bound by being in Tennessee because
That's
it's
right.
a virtual program.
That's right.
So the Voiceover Exchange is a monthly membership program. It's $49 a month. You get 4 coaching sessions, group coaching sessions, 1 industry talk, and 1 Q&A session a month. So there's 6 sessions a month that are all recorded. They live on, within the membership platform that, it's hosted by. And therefore, people can go in. There's a discussion board where we post things all the time and ask questions. And, I can send out emails from that to everyone to let them know, hey, this is what's coming up. And, people are interactive on there. They can, members can talk to each other, that kind of thing, support each other. And we get a good amount of interaction there. Obviously not going to reach as many people as like a Facebook group, but I have so many people who are not on Facebook in there because of the age range.
And a lot of reasons people want to keep things off social media or social media in general. So yeah, it's always a trade-off when you create an organization, whether you build it on a social media platform like Facebook or you just decide to go off Facebook. Whereas we have a small membership program here and we're using a Discord, for example.
Right.
So that, I was like, if I don't do it on social, then it's harder for it to be viral because you can't share posts. And I thought about all that, but no, I was like, I don't want to give those platforms any more of my IP or my energy.
Me too.
I want to keep control of that content and that energy. Right?
That's where this started.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I didn't want my IP to belong to other people because the terms of service say it does if you post it on there. And I'm like, no, you're not getting my stuff. I created all this from scratch, so you can't have it. It's mine.
And now with AI chatbot engines, it's even more egregious because there's just those things are vacuuming up the knowledge of the internet faster than you can even imagine, right?
It's terrible.
It's great to create your own place. And so they get all these live things, these live group coaches sessions. And then the industry ones, those are guests, I guess, that come in and lecture. Yeah.
Sometimes it'll be me if we have a particular topic. Like at the beginning, like January, I decided to do something about goal setting. And so the people that showed up, we talked about their goals. And then, I've been following up with people since then. Hey, what are your goals? What are we going to do? And we talked about SMART goals and all that kind of stuff. So that was our industry talk for January. This month, actually, it's tonight for the day we're recording this, but it's tonight. And we have somebody coming in to talk about marketing and social media posting and such. And, how you create something out of nothing. And, and it's an hour long. They're going to do a little presentation and, answer questions. And, we talk about different topics. I would actually love to have you come in and talk about tech and gear and what to buy, how to buy, how to spend smartly, those kinds of things. So I try to cover performance, business, and tech in the industry talks, just, the big three. Just because, people want to know about those things. I've had, Ian Russell was on one time talking about video games and just how to get video game work and where it stems from and, just not... It wasn't a coaching session. It was just
industry
understanding
information,
of
the business, understanding the uniqueness of video game work. Yeah,
exactly. So we talked about that. So I've had lots of different wonderful sessions, and for the coaching sessions, I vary them up. There are normally 2 during the daytime, and then I have got 2 at night because different people can attend at different times.
Right.
And I've got a core of about a good 20 people that are constantly in there. I've got more members than that, obviously, but about 20 people who are constantly attending and learning. And really engaging and being there. And, they take all as many of the coaching sessions as they can. And I switch it up between different genres and have different guest coaches that may be teaching a particular technique, or somebody will come in and talk about audiobooks because I don't do them, and I'll bring in a guest coach about audiobooks. Same with video games. We've got Kayla coming in to talk about video games at the end of the month because I don't do video games either.
Right.
I'll talk about e-learning and political and, commercial and narration and all that kind of good stuff. And I've had Kevin Kilpatrick come in and talk automotive.
Great.
So we mix it up.
Awesome.
I try to cover as many genres as humanly possible with the people that are knowledgeable, working, booking in that area.
Absolutely.
And then just give everyone, chances to practice and and learn and pick up techniques and things. That's kind of what we're doing within the membership.
And all that content gets captured into a growing library that they can go back. That's fantastic.
Yep, they can go back anytime, and the platform's great for me because I can see what people are watching. It's got analytics built in for me.
Brilliant.
As the hub owner, and I can go look in there and go, okay, this video is really popular. People are really watching that one. Okay, great.
That's good to know.
Yeah. And it's a video-based platform, really. So, uploading that content. I mean, I can upload documents and other things, too, which I have done lots of, so they get a lot of content. But everything we do is recorded, so that way they can go watch it anytime convenient for them.
Yeah.
So it's a really great program, and the discussion group is the thing I love the most. I'm constantly posting in there with prompts and questions and, hey, what are you guys doing today? What are your goals? Are you keeping up with your goals? Somebody will post in there, hey, I just bought this. Can you help me out? What do you think about it? Or here's my new logo. What do you guys think? And, so people are interacting with one another, which to me, the community is the most important.
That's good to see. I built those spaces in Discord for us, but I think because we haven't gotten to that critical energy level where we're getting engagement on those platforms, I put the space for them to be there when they want it. But, I think it's tricky because, there's so much energy being tapped away by social media. And so,
there is.
Getting people to focus back, even if they pay for something and they're subscribing and sometimes paying a fair amount of money, getting them to actually engage and benefit from what they're actually paying for is surprisingly difficult at times.
It is.
You're like, you've got this amazing resource. Why aren't you using it?
Why aren't you using it? Yeah, and that's what membership-based things suffer from all the time. I actually took a
gym membership.
Yeah, I took a course on building memberships, and and it was not cheap. But that investment was well worth it. And, that's how I built, this platform. I am going to be doing the launch. I'm in the, right now in the background creating a lot of the content and a lot of the information that's going to live within the hub after you subscribe, but also information for people to, that I'll put out there for marketing purposes to share knowledge and information and give beginners and other people who are interested in starting real content they can use and that's, industry vetted and real and all that kind of good stuff. So that way they have some information to go from, but yet it leads to other things. And then hopefully if they, like and trust, they'll eventually join the club and, come and join us and be part of the membership and, hopefully get on their way with it. So, that's the hope. And I'm building all that.
You have to build trust. And It might take some people, they might sign up that 1 second because they immediately see the value.
Yeah.
Other people might take them months or even
And
a
that's
year
okay.
before they get the courage to sign. It's just like people, like, I've known about you forever, but I didn't think I was ready to hire you, you know?
Right. That happens all the time.
And then and I'm like, I don't know why I waited so long. And I'm like, I get it. I understand. I suffer the same issues, you know?
Yeah,
So
we all
I get
do
it.
with things. You know, taking that leap of faith with our money and time is very hard. I mean, everybody suffers from the same thing. There's not
Absolutely.
unlimited money and there's not unlimited time. So you
That's
have to
right.
balance those things, you know, with your sanity and the rest of your life and your life circumstances. And, you know, because
And we're
people are
all entrepreneurs.
doing
We're
it.
all business owners. So
absolutely.
we're all dealing with some similar issues. Some of us are just dealing with a different business model, like we're offering
Right.
memberships, you know, or we're doing these services, whereas the actors are doing a different model.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you're still having to deal with social media, marketing, CRM, managing your business, managing your
Yep.
money, keeping your schedule, keeping your sanity.
Exactly.
Everybody has to do all those things.
It is hard, and that's the class I have is the business course called Career Path, and it's got two elements to it. One of which is we call it Atlas, and then the other one is Atlas and Compass. And Atlas is basically it's the program. It's $599. It's $599, and I've got it. I think I've set it up for a payment plan, but I can't remember. It's kind of weird within the system I'm using. But basically, it's a 12-hour business course. It's everything broken down into minute detail about everything about, the voiceover business part. It's not about performance or anything. It's about all the other stuff that nobody talks about. Taxes
right.
and this and that and the other, everything. And then Atlas and Compass part of it includes one-on-ones with me as you're going through the course
Good.
to help me, to help you tell me your personal situation and I can
Yes.
help guide you based on your information.
Yes.
Because, everybody's different. You try to make a course that's as generic as possible, but not so generic that nobody can get what they need out of it.
Yeah.
But then if you need a little more and you just want that, okay, here's my
Yeah.
situation. You said this, this, and this. I've done this, this, and this, but I still am missing this key piece. What is it? I'm there to answer those questions. So
Yeah, I get people that
Yeah.
watch our videos on using Twisted Wave or Audacity, whatever it is.
Yep.
And it's just not landing. And they're like, can't you just work with me one-on-one? I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I just always will give somebody the most, cost-effective solution first. Here's a video.
Exactly. Yeah.
Watch this video. But then, there's not everybody can learn that way. And,
Right.
So do you also take some of the video, audio material that you generate and convert it into any other form? Or is it just released as video?
Right now, it's just released as video. And actually, I have another video in the works because I teach a class and I've been teaching it for years. I can teach it in my sleep. Voiceover 101, which is just kind of an intro. It's a 3-hour class intro into,
That's like my practical personal studios class that I've been
Exactly.
teaching for
Yeah.
I don't know how many years. Yeah, I can teach it in my
Exactly.
sleep.
It's just
Right.
that kind of basic course. If you're interested in wanting to know what this business is about, here are the things that, here's what to think about.
Right.
That's actually been filmed and edited. We're in the, final phases of getting it going and
Good for
fixing
you.
it and everything. And that's going to be
it's a
live
lot
on the
of work.
website. Yeah,
It's
it
a lot of
is.
work.
Well,
Yeah.
luckily, I got connections to people who edit and
Good.
film and all that yay fun stuff. Having
Yes.
been in film production for years and years, I've got
Yeah.
people who do all that.
That's great.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, but we're finishing that up. But yeah, it's just most of it's video related
Yeah.
because that's what most people gravitate towards nowadays. I don't
it's
do
true.
podcasts. It's just something I decided not to get into because there are so many wonderful people already doing podcasts, yourself included. But with your angle of being tech related so heavy, that's really
Yeah.
great. But
Yeah.
I just decided not to add that pressure to myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all
No,
video
I think
related
that's
at this
important.
point.
You need to know who your audience is and how they choose to engage and learn. And, a chat show is not, everybody doesn't need to have a chat show about voiceover.
No.
Right. I mean,
No.
that's why I hung it up for a while. It's like, nobody's missing. Nobody's going to die if I don't release my next episode. They're not periodics or serials. It's just like I can stop for a while. I didn't get a flood of emails in my inbox. What happened to your show? No, it was like nobody. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, what's the big deal? So I'm glad that you know where to focus your energy. And it sounds great. Where do people go to explore, get some free content or sign up?
Well, it's kind of strange. The current URL for the membership exchange, the VoiceOver exchange is the voiceoverexchange.squarespace.com. That is the current one.
As of the time of the release of this episode, which may be a little bit time from now.
Yeah.
What will
It'll
it
still be the
eventually?
voiceoverexchange.squarespace.com for the membership group. And vocareerpath.com is how to find out about career path. So,
okay, great.
That's the business course. And of course, all of this is under the auspice of Tennessee Voiceover Studios. So tnvoiceoverstudios.com houses all this under, classes and courses. It'll all be there, and a link to all those. You just click the button and there it goes. And
tnvoiceoverstudios.com.
Correct.
That's the main site to remember if you're not sure which one to visit first.
Exactly. tnvoiceoverstudios.com is the best because everything is there and it explains it all. It's all on the website, a lot of information. And then to the specific websites you can get there because the studios is still operating as well. I still have a monthly agent night and director series class, along with several other one-off classes and things. Like next week, I've got a class on political with Bobby Maxwell and I are teaming up to do a class on political. And that's, that sold out fast. Tis the year for political.
Absolutely. I mean, when is there not a season for political? It seems
exactly.
like
this
nowadays.
Year's planning to be a big one. But, we have our classes.
That's
They're
great.
there. Yeah.
I love their show too, the Making Waves podcast. And so I'm a fan and listen to their show all the time.
Oh, yeah. Bobby and Kevin do a great
job.
show.
Yeah, they really do. Lovely. Well, so nice to chat with you again. And
great to chat with
I look
you,
forward to
George.
seeing how things go for you this year and getting the word out to our followers and our clients to know that that's a resource to them if they want to supplement their education and have great ongoing training. So I'll make sure everybody knows about it.
Thank you so much. It was great chatting with you, and I love that you're getting back into this again. Having your knowledge and expertise out there is definitely something that I point all my students to all the time. You're the first thing that comes out of my mouth. You got to talk to George.
Well, we'll make sure we make sure that information is as crystalline and condensed as possible for them, so they know exactly what to do next.
That's great.
All right. Thanks, Christy. Thanks for your time today. Thanks for joining me on the Performer Friendly Podcast. I'm George the Tech, and stay tuned to the next.
George the Tech.